Have you ever walked down a lonely path at night, feeling that unexplainable chill crawling up your spine, like someone or something was watching you? Well, many who have felt that never made it back to tell what they saw. Amid whispers and shadows, a story has been passed down through generations, sending shivers even through the most skeptical. The legend of the old lady with the lantern. She doesn't run. She doesn't scream. She doesn't make a sound. She just appears. Alone. In the middle of the darkness, with her faint, flickering light cutting through the pitch-black night. Some swear they've seen a frail, elderly woman in old-fashioned clothes, walking slowly down remote roads and forgotten alleys. Others. Well, they were never seen again. The scariest part? It's not just a story. There are records, eyewitness accounts, grainy videos, and countless reports of strange disappearances in small rural towns. This isn't just the kind of ghost story you tell around a campfire, it's a warning. And maybe, just maybe, after hearing what I have to tell you, you'll think twice before heading out alone at night. If you're a fan of urban legends, paranormal encounters, and bone-chilling mysteries, get ready. From this point on, we're diving deep into the darkest corners of the supernatural, where the line between reality and folklore fades away like fog at dawn. But be careful, not every strange encounter comes with a warning. And as they say, if you ever see an old woman holding a lantern by the side of the road, don't follow. Never follow. They say it all began on a dirt road, one of those forgotten by the map somewhere between two remote villages. It was a pitch-black night, and the only visible light came from a lantern swaying in the distance, as if floating through the dark. A truck driver swears he stopped his vehicle when he saw an old woman slowly crossing the path, holding that antique lantern in her hands. At first, she seemed like someone lost, but when he stepped out of the cab to help her, she vanished. Fear took hold of him. And he wasn't the first nor the last to witness that mysterious apparition. This scene repeats itself in reports from all over the country, always following the same eerie pattern. A frail-looking old woman, always at night, always carrying her dim light, walking along paths no one else dares to tread. Sometimes she looks like she's searching for something. Other times, like she knows exactly where she's going. Many describe her as part of the landscape itself, an ancient shadow that lingers in the corners where the supernatural still breathes. It's as if she only appears to those who carry doubt in their hearts, or who fail to heed the warnings. What stands out the most in these stories is the silence. Not a single twig snapping beneath her feet. Nothing. The lantern flickers gently, as if dancing to the rhythm of a breeze that isn't there, but there's no wind, no sound. When someone tries to get closer, they describe a sudden, heavy stillness, like stepping into a forbidden space where time slows down and the air thickens. Many call it a pocket of the world, a moment of pure tension when everything seems to stop, exactly the kind of feeling only a true paranormal encounter can bring. Some say that when you meet her gaze, a deep, aching sadness fills your chest. As if she carries more than just her age, maybe a secret, a trauma, or a curse. She doesn't speak. Sometimes she mumbles something unintelligible, but more often, there's only silence. The encounter usually lasts just a few seconds. Just enough to freeze you in place and haunt you forever. Many have seen her abandon the road, change their lives, or vow never to walk alone at night again. And the most puzzling part? There are never any traces left behind. No footprints. No real evidence of the old woman with the lantern. Only whispered stories, blurry photos, low-resolution videos, and endless speculation. It's as if the horror itself hides between the lines of what's told, growing stronger with the mystery. Everyone who sees her becomes part of the urban legend, and even non-believers tend to walk a little faster when they're alone at night. After all, when the supernatural decides to show itself. It doesn't ask for permission. The places where the old woman tends to appear are never random. They're always far-off spots, forgotten by time, where even the wind seems to carry secrets. Rural backroads full of potholes, fog-choked alleys, abandoned houses swallowed by tall grass. It's in these corners that fear settles more easily. The faint glow of her lantern looks even more sinister against the pitch-black darkness surrounding it. Some witnesses describe the setting as if it were part of a nightmare. The ground feels softer, sounds are more distant, and the air grows heavier. Just walking there sparks a sense of alert, like something unseen is watching from the shadows. The old woman's figure blends into the scenery, showing up in places no living soul should be. Every element feeds into the terror that comes with each new account. One detail appears in nearly every description: the surroundings feel alive, ominously so. Trees twist like they've grown limbs. Power poles stand dead for decades. And silences are shattered by whispers that seem to come from nowhere. A lone traveler might swear they hear footsteps just behind them, but when they turn, there's only darkness. In many of the stories, a thick silence comes before she appears, an invisible warning that something is about to happen. Strangely, animals often sense her first. Dogs refuse to walk certain paths. Cats bristle and dart off for no reason at all. Even the crickets fall quiet, as if nature itself yields to whatever is lurking there. In those regions, every strange encounter seems magnified by the atmosphere, like the very land is an accomplice to the wandering spirit. It's a stage, perfectly set for mystery. And when night falls, everything changes. What was once familiar becomes threatening. Every shadow could be hiding something. That's why the elders always said, if the road is dark, turn back. The fear doesn't come from the old woman alone, it's the whole experience. The chilling aura around her, the whispers, the disappearances, the tension that builds in your chest long before she appears. And then, just when you think you're imagining things, the lantern appears up ahead. The Lantern Lady herself is, at the same time, the simplest and most unsettling part of the story. She looks like those elderly women from the countryside, frail, hunched over, wearing thick, faded clothes that seem straight out of an old sepia photograph. But her face? No one seems able to describe it clearly. Some say it's always hidden in the shadow of the lantern. Others swear they saw deep, empty eyes, staring into something far beyond this world. She never seems to notice or care about those watching her. Her lantern is the only light in the scene. Flickering. Dim, but constant. It's almost as if the flame has a mind of its own, swaying gently even though there's no breeze. It never goes out, not even in rain or wind. But the strangest part? It never lights up her face, only the ground ahead, as if showing a path. But never where it leads. The way she walks sends chills down people's spines. Slow, dragging steps, like she's in no hurry because she knows that eventually, someone will follow. Sometimes she stops. Just stands there, frozen, staring at a spot on the road like she's hearing voices no one else can hear. Some witnesses say they heard murmurs in a strange language as they got closer. Others say she looked at them and smiled, but not a warm smile. A warning. There are versions of the story where she actually speaks, but it's always eerie. One woman swears that while walking a trail, she passed the Lantern Lady and heard her whisper, "Turn back while you still can." Another heard her dead brother's name spoken softly in her ear even though she was alone. Everyone who hears her voice says the same thing: it chills your soul. Her presence crawls over your skin like a shadow you can't shake. And the most mysterious thing of all? No one really knows who she was. Some say a healer, betrayed by someone she trusted. Others say a grieving mother who lost her child. Or maybe just a tormented spirit who never found peace. Each version tells a different story, but all agree on one thing: she's not there by accident. She's searching for something or someone. And the lantern she carries, small as it is, seems to light the road to something far more haunting. In her world, every step costs something. There's no shortage of stories about people who saw the lantern lady and were never the same again. Take the case of the young man who, out of pure curiosity, decided to follow her along a dirt road in the countryside of Goiás. They say he even recorded part of the walk on his phone, but the video ends abruptly: shaky footage, heavy breathing, then silence. He was found 3 days later, barefoot, memory erased, staring blankly into space. To this day, he won't speak about what he saw that night. Another well-known account comes from a woman walking home from church through a shortcut between farms. In the distance, she saw the faint glow of a lantern lighting a narrow trail through tall grass. Thinking someone needed help, she called out but got no reply. As she approached, she saw the old woman floating a few inches above the ground. The woman ran, and swears she heard a thin, eerie laugh behind her, followed by whispers: "You shouldn't be here." Then there's the story of two brothers who went camping near an old trail once used by muleteers. In the middle of the night, they noticed a soft light moving between the trees. Assuming it was a local, one of them went out with a flashlight to check. The other brother, waiting in the tent, never saw him again. Police searched for weeks. All they found were strange markings on the ground and the lantern, still lit, left resting on a stone. Some of the most chilling stories come from drivers. One said he saw the old woman cross right in front of his car. He slammed on the brakes, jumped out to check, but no one was there. What hit him instead was a strong scent of melted candle wax and burning herbs. When he got back into the car, he found the rearview mirror cracked and on the back seat, an old embroidered cloth, soaked as if freshly pulled from the rain. He sold the car days later. And of course, some say they followed her all the way. These are the rarest and the most terrifying accounts. One man said she led him to a crumbling house where disembodied voices began calling his name. Another said that as he tried to reach her, his legs stopped moving, like the ground itself was holding him back. The one thing all these stories share? A final warning whispered in the wind: never follow the light, no matter how harmless it may seem. Most stories about the lantern lady don't have happy endings. In several versions, the tale ends with the chilling revelation that she's been dead for decades, her life cut short by an unresolved tragedy. Some say she was murdered by travelers. Others claim she died alone, lost in the woods, still clutching her lantern. Her soul, they say, never crossed over. And with each strange encounter, it's like she's retracing her final steps, searching endlessly for something she'll never find. In certain regions, people believe she's a lost soul looking for company on her eternal journey. A restless spirit who refuses to leave this world unless she takes someone with her. That's why following the lantern is considered a curse. Like the stories of fishermen lured by false lights at sea, those who follow rarely come back. The warning is clear: the supernatural preys on the curiosity of the living, and always collects its price. But some see the legend as more symbolic, a metaphor for the dangers of disobedience and reckless choices. Passed down through generations, the story is meant to keep people, especially children and young folks, from wandering alone at night. If you see an old woman with a lantern, run the other way. It might sound like superstition, but like all folklore, there's usually a kernel of truth buried inside the fear. Others say she's out for revenge. Betrayed by someone in life, she now drags her pain through the dark trails of the living world. She doesn't choose who she encounters, fate does. And fate often picks those who owe something to the other side. In some cases, she appears days before a person vanishes. like an omen. A shadow that announces what's coming. The real horror here is knowing she never shows up by mistake. And the strangest thing? This legend survives because, deep down, everyone knows someone who saw something like that. A cousin. A grandfather. A neighbor. The story keeps spreading because it taps into our shared fear of the dark, of isolation, of the unknown. And even those who claim they don't believe still avoid deserted paths after sundown. Because no matter how much it sounds like just another urban legend, no one wants to be the next name in a paranormal tale. The origin of the lantern lattice story is just as mysterious as the figure herself. Many folklorists believe the legend has roots in Old Mexican or Latin American oral traditions, especially in remote, rural areas where spoken stories carry more weight than books. In these isolated villages, where electricity arrived later, never did the lantern become a symbol of both life and death. In places where shadows rule the night, soft light and deep darkness have always been the perfect stage for the supernatural. And it was through whispers that the Lantern Lady made her way into the collective imagination. There's no single, definitive version of her tale. In some regions, she was a respected healer who vanished mysteriously during a violent storm. In others, she was cast out by her own community, accused of witchcraft and condemned to exile. Each area tweaks the details according to its own culture, but the essence remains the same: a woman who should have left this world long ago, but didn't. That's what makes the legend feel universal, a horror that adapts to the beliefs of whoever hears it. Interestingly, the image of an elderly woman carrying a light appears in different countries across Latin America, under various names: La Vieja del Farol, La Señora de la Luz, or simply La Mujer del Camino. These variations suggest a shared origin, a seed planted long ago in the collective memory. And like any good urban legend, the story has evolved over time, now incorporating modern elements like phones that lose signal, GPS glitches, and recordings filled with static. The supernatural, after all, knows how to keep up. Beyond being just a ghost story, many see this legend as a disguised warning. A way for elders to protect younger generations from the very real dangers of the world. Don't walk alone at night. Don't trust strangers. Don't chase after every light you see. The Lantern Lady became the embodiment of that ancestral advice, frightening enough to be taken seriously. It may sound like superstition, but the underlying message is clear: there are places and people you simply shouldn't follow. In the end, the legend survives because it holds more than just fear, it holds truth. A truth wrapped in mystery, hidden between everyday life and unexplainable moments. The supernatural here serves as a metaphor for the unknown, the forgotten, the things we'd rather avoid. And like all the best spine-chilling tales, this one keeps being told with new witnesses, strange new encounters, and the same old warning: if you ever come across an old woman carrying a lantern, turn back while you still can. So tell me, would you still have the courage to walk down a deserted road at night if you saw a faint light dancing in the distance? Stories like the one about the Lantern Lady tap into something ancient within us, the fear of the unknown. But they also make us think, could all those childhood warnings really be just superstition, or are they fragments of a truth we'd rather not face? Maybe the scariest part isn't the apparition itself, but what she represents: our secrets, our guilt, the things we've left unresolved. The lantern might just be a symbol, or maybe it's an invitation. An eerie call to face what we've buried deep inside. What would you do if the supernatural stared you in the face? Turn around? Follow the light? Or freeze in fear? Urban legends like this are more than just scary stories, they carry wisdom, warnings, reflections of real-life dangers. And now that you've made it this far, you know some mysteries aren't meant to be solved and some stories must be told, so they're never forgotten. Fear, when listened to wisely, can be a powerful guide. Now it's your turn. What's the strangest experience you've ever had? Have you ever felt like someone was watching you even though you were alone? Drop your story in the comments and who knows, your tale might be featured in the next episode. If you enjoy legends, mysteries, and true paranormal encounters that send chills down your spine, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. The supernatural is closer than you think, and every week, a new story will remind you of that.